So I'm just labeling this live with Brigitte. My name is Brigitte. If this is the first time you are kind of tuning in to my frequency, my energy, my physicality, my field, welcome. It's a pleasure. Yeah, I kind of got a message, what is it that I do? Essentially, I believe that I'm here to experience fully what it means to be a human being on this planet. And already there is a glitch in that sentence because I'm not sure if the identification of being human is indeed correct. I feel that there are stages that we move through and that it is essential to embrace what it means to be human on this planet Earth. But I do believe that that could be somewhat of a limitation and also a beautiful evolutionary goal because for most people, it's kind of like this story of like, wow, human beings, like what are we doing? Where is our humanity? Where is the humanity in being the human being? So yes, I do believe being a human being is part of a evolutionary process where we may get to a point where we no longer need to identify that with that, and we purely identify as frequency or as love or as pure intelligence and as consciousness. So this is really who I am and what I do, and I have been guided to do more lives like this one. And to be honest, today I've just jumped on. I do not have an agenda. I do not have a schedule. I do not have a plan. I have had no pre-thought to this at all. The only reason I'm doing it is one, as a beautiful experience. So within my consciousness stream, it's like going, okay, cool, let's do these lives. For the last couple of years, I've really been focused on teaching through social media platforms and, of course, you know, being often inspired by algorithm changes, etc., 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 because I know that it keeps me up to date, but also super, super frustrated at algorithm changes because fuck, you kind of feel like you're getting somewhere and then you are behind, and that can happen in the space of 2 weeks. So I've really, really loved the teaching space, the being on video space. And at this point in time, like I said, I was just guided last night to begin doing more lives, and I just want to see where it goes. So, I'm not too tech savvy, which is also a really cool aspect of jumping into these sorts of streaming programs and seeing if they actually work. And at this point in time, I see three viewers are watching, but I have no idea from where. So this is pretty cool. This is gnarly for me because it seems like I'm streaming to 5 different places, but again, I have no idea if it's actually working or not. And that's okay. I'm really at a space in my life where it is complete surrender. It is being the complete witness as to what is happening in my reality. What is it that I'm creating? What am I seeing appearing in front of me? What patterns do I see within the algorithm? So yes, this is a bit of a change in that, and we'll see what transpires. I'm excited. And really, ultimately, my job is just to be present and to be as authentic as I can be. And I feel like the other social media sort of algorithms beyond the live is kind of constricting, and also again beautiful from an evolutionary perspective, because it allows you the opportunity to really tune into what it is your message is, and be able to deliver that message in a 1.5 minute reel on Facebook, etc., etc. But fuck it, I mean, there's what I've been noticing on social media is, particularly on Instagram, is all the information is out there. You know, many of us within what we would call the spiritual community are giving the same message, like, what is happening with trauma? Are you able to see your trauma? Do you understand what is happening with your triggers? Are you looking at your masculine? Are you looking at your feminine? Have you done your ancestral healing? Have you done any shadow work? Go deep within the shadow, then come into the light, breathe, breath work, tantrika, all of these things, they're all there. It's all there. The message is being repeated over and over and over and over again. However, it feels to me that um, I don't know if people are getting it. I feel like the spiritual community is the spiritual community, and we are all giving these messages. And we design courses, and we get people on, and we're targeting people. And I've used that word very specifically, the word targeting, because there is a superimposition when it comes to us being online and promoting what it is that we believe in, which is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that, and then obviously trying to balance out our reality by being able to earn from what it is that we've learned from our own experiences in the form of courses and coursework, etc., etc. But this marketing thing has been a very interesting space for me recently. In fact, since I started my business, which is 9 years ago now, originally starting as moving to Brigitte. I mean, it's me, it's my experiences. This is the container you step into, is my conscious experiences and me teaching you about those experiences. The point I'm trying to make is, when I began this business 9 years ago, due to the nature of the work that I did being in the plant medicine space, it was really, really essential that I was very tuned into marketing and knew that I was presenting information from the heart. Because I just want to share with you guys, there was no huge, grand spiritual activation for me, in the sense, in the way that many people have their spiritual awakening. It was this slow and steady paced reminder of who it is I am. And one of those aspects was the rebel. The other aspect was the very, very authentic girl that didn't want to do things in the way that others did. And so through my awakening, it was this process of, I'm going to do this work, meaning plant medicine work. I have no prior training. Not many of you will know the story, but I had no prior training. I have no affordability to go into the jungle at this point in time. I also am not here to learn about the medicine of ayahuasca, because I'm not learning about ayahuasca. And at the time, there was no one that I could go to for work with psilocybin. I'm currently reading XYZ books. These books are speaking to my soul, and what they are telling me is that everything is a matter of remembering. And so, and ultimately, all the books is like, there's two frequencies, the frequency of love and the frequency of fear, and that's it. Okay. And so I began my journey, and speaking to the marketing aspect, it's like, how do I now transmit information to others where it's quite a sticky gray area space? And the only way that I can do it is by aligning to the teachings that I'm receiving, which is everything is energy. And if everything is energy, then perhaps I do not even need to use the words as directly as the brain may need them. And I want to make sure that I'm speaking to the heart. I want to make sure that those people that are coming into my field via social media networks or any marketing are really resonating from the heart space with perhaps images that I'm using, words that I'm using, that are not a direct translation of what it is that you're actually going to receive. And of course, when we speak to that, that may seem like a contradiction of what I'm saying, in terms of superimposing something onto you and being truthful in the nature of what it is that what it is that I'm serving. But obviously, I need to look after and be a custodian of this work. So it was very frequency based. And I remember a time when I had a freelance worker working with me, and just to help me with marketing, etc., etc. And it was an absolute disaster, because this particular individual had a lot of shadow work that was coming through that needed to be cleared, dealing with a lot of anger, dealing with a lot of shame, dealing with a lot of guilt. And I mean, when I say anger, I mean like rage to the nth degree. I would not allow that individual to put out marketing when she was sitting in this frequency. I would not allow anything to be sent out to anybody when it wasn't sitting in the heart space. So this sort of form of communication was instilled within my work from, from day one. And I'm really, really grateful for that, because as the veil lifts further and further and further, and as we move through our blockages and our subconscious programs and AI programs and all the inserts that have been layering and creating our world in the way in which we know it, is crumbling down. And what we are seeing is how many overlays there are. So it's overlay, over overlay, over overlay. And it's just smoke and mirrors or milk and honey kind of vibe. Like, what beautiful trinkets can we dangle over these marketing phrases in order to lure you in? All right. And this is really important, particularly among the spiritual community and every community. I just happen to be in a community that I would describe as the spiritual community, because that is the nature of my work. But it is not to say that this is only happening in this community. It has been happening on planet Earth for a very, very long time. And especially when you go back to, the 50s and 60s, there was a beautiful series that was out. I can't remember it now, but it's, the beginning days of these big corporate structures beginning to market, and how we used cigarettes and tobaccos to make things look sexy, and Camparis and this and that, and yachting holidays was Peter Stuyvesant. And it is all just superimposition into your field. So it's quite a difficult space, and it's beautifully humbling as well, because often what it does is just bring you back to neutral and bring you back to a space of inaction, right? And this is what I mean is conscious inaction, meaning you are very particularly not taking action on a marketing plan or a marketing campaign based on the fact that you really need to come into further alignment with, one, yourself, two, your belief systems, three, your service, four, your product, five, your offering, six, the language that you are using within that offering, and make sure that it is as purely potent as it can be, meaning that it is stemming directly from the heart space, meaning that you are in absolute trust of the universal laws, and that they will not fail you, and that you are those energies, you are emitting them. And to anyone that has been, I guess, very particularly entrepreneurs who have kind of stepped out of the system, or what we would have called the matrix or the system, and you are stepping out into the space of your sovereign identity, all right? It becomes a really, really difficult space. And some would call this on their spiritual path part of their dark night of the soul, because none of the prior structures are there to hold you in the way that they did and could in the past. Because they are out of alignment with you, you literally, your body, your soul, your everything cannot align to any form of targeting of an individual from a price perspective and from a place of need, and therefore a place of poverty. We cannot market in this way, and we cannot be abundant, truly, truly abundant, and truly, truly rich within ourselves if we are marketing in these ways. So, and these are the times you'll notice me go offline and online, offline and online. And it's one of the reasons why I've chosen to begin doing more lives, because it's just fucking authentic. And there is so much that I want to say, and maybe some of it is super, loads of garbage to you, but I don't want you guys to see snippets of me. And please note that I do make sure that I'm in my heart space when I'm doing that. But when you're seeing snippets of me, it is only giving so much of an insight into the identity of me, or that which you perceive as the identity of me. Whereas if we're doing more whole based live sessions where I just get to speak, knowing that those that are in resonance are going to tune in, listen, and those that are not, amazing, cool. um, so it provides me the opportunity to just be, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I'll give you an example. When I was in Budapest recently, I I didn't have a s- I hadn't yet. Oh, actually, let me rephrase that. My cell phone wasn't able to get internet outside of the place that I was living in. Okay, there was a bit of an issue with regards to Wi-Fi, etc., etc. So I was moving around this new city that I do not know, purely on instinct, purely with intuition. So I would, I wasn't using maps. I really wanted to enjoy this experience of being tuned in, knowing that I can return back to my home base, without freaking out in a city that I am not familiar with. So I use the system of the body check and going, okay, cool. Am I going left or right? At the moment, I feel like I am not going in the right direction. Obviously, I had a goal of where to go. The goal was actually to get out of the city to this sort of beach area. I wanted to be by the water and have a suntan, etc., etc. Anyway, I found my way there. And what I found was this absolutely empty space. Nobody was there. It was so beautiful. And I was actually in a bit of shock because I was like, this city is full of people right now. Many, many students, many, many youngsters. There was a Grand Prix going on. There were about 2 festivals going on. 60,000 people had just returned from Azora. So this is a lot of activity in the city in the middle of a very, very hot summer in Europe, and no one is here at this beachfront, right? Why? Because there are no shops around, there's no sort of industry around, it's off the beaten track, and it's not been marketed. So within the hostel space, I was staying in a hostel, the only thing that was being marketed were pub crawls. Um, Come and cruise the Danube on this pub liner. We're going to go clubbing, da 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 da. And of course, I understand that the hostel environment is majority filled with youngsters, but it's like, our connection to alcohol is just such an old program, and it's still continuing. There was nothing presented in that hostel, and it wasn't only in the hostel because I was walking around. It is just all of these things that are industry based, that are luring you in, that are, yes, of course, allowing for someone else to earn. And I'm not saying that is not a human right for people to earn money. But when there are so many other things around where we can really spend our time in presence and peace and nature, these things are not marketed. And I actually did a video on the beach there, but I thought, oh fuck, I'm not going to send it. Because again, I can only speak to these topics in 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes. And it's just like, it may just go straight over the head. So I just left it. But here I am bringing it up, and it's one of the reasons I'm bringing it up as well is because I've just been in a beautiful course. It was only 2.5 weeks, but it literally feels like it's been. Okay, let me tune in here. So from a soul perspective, it feels like it's been about a 7-month course. Okay, because remember, time is changing. Our relationship with time is changing. The construct of time is merely that. It's a construct. We have created it. So when I engage in this sort of coursework, and it's a 2.5 week sort of buzzing frequency with not only myself, but 50 other light workers, we are literally bending time and space. So it was like this 6.5 month experience in terms of downloads from a soul perspective. Really, really amazing. And um, one of the things that occurred right before me going into this course is a huge clearing from my space. And I just want you guys to know that not all clearings are going to be dramatic, because the more we move along our path of incension or ascension, your spiritual path, your evolutionary path, your path to growth, transformation, delayering your ego, revisiting what your belief systems are regarding your reality. The more we are on that path, we are inevitably going to clear stuff. But it means that the longer we've been on the path, we understand when we are in shadow work time, we understand what is presenting in front of us, and there's no longer so much of this energetic emotional charge. It's not a dramatic charge anymore. We're just like, this is being present in my reality. This is interesting and it needs to end. So I moved through a process like that, and although I'm making it sound quite casual, this was a sort of decoding with an individual that had been in my life for 6 years, and that was a really, really, really solid force field in my life. And it this decoding came over a period of sort of, let's say, 2 weeks of really, really deep evaluation. It had begun, so the process of me thinking about it had begun already, let's say a month prior. So let's say total 6 weeks of it being in my field, but really this 2 week charge of energy where I'm like, it's time to come to an end. So this ending came, I had a week before our coursework started, and because of this ending, all of a sudden I could feel this huge energetic spaciousness, that voidal field really, really open up around me, within me, throughout me. And although it was daunting for the first 24 hours, it was quite refreshing after the 24 hours. So I've actually done a little video on this, like the spaciousness, how we either drown in that spaciousness or we fly in that spaciousness. It is merely a perception. So I was really feeling it the first 24 hours until it released, and I was like, I actually feel really, really free here. From the moment that freedom or that sense of freedom hits in, all the other constructs that had been held within this friendship and within this dynamic that was held for 6 years started dissolving. So belief systems that I had maintained through this time period, and bearing in mind that these individuals come into your life so that you can receive these teachings. You have picked them to come into your life. So it's an absolute honor. This process was an absolute honor. But the falling away and the dissolving came quickly, and it was in perfect time for this new course that I was doing. And this was a dragon course, basically. How to begin connecting in with your dragon body. What is a dragon body? What does it mean? Are we speaking to mythical creatures here, or is it bigger? Etc., etc., etc. I could probably do another video on that in some time. I'm still integrating the information, so I will do so. But you guys would have seen on my, particularly the Ascension Medicine page, that there was a lot of sort of elemental and dragon energy coming in before, where I'd shared some channelings with you guys. And to speak again to the marketing and the superimposition, one of the things that was happening in my reality through this big change and this big shift was just the dissolving of more and more and more belief systems, the dissolving of old belief systems. And because of that, taking a bit of break from a social media perspective and going back into that reevaluation, which I mentioned in the beginning, and allowing myself space and time to sort of integrate, which will always be integrating because information is always updating, is it not? I believe that we are just in a big set of data. Everything is just data, Is the data organic or is it artificial? And this is where marketing comes in, and this is where it becomes interesting, and this is where it becomes important, because when we are abiding by the laws of the universe, if we are superimposing from a space of need, greed, poverty, lack, you know, we are imprinting this program, this data set into the quantum reality, and it's just going to give us a feedback loop, reinstating to us that we are indeed feeling lack of abundance, poverty, etc., etc., etc. And I mean, what does this mean for us in our reality? What does it mean for me in my reality? And again, I can only speak for myself. It's a hugely humbling process. It's a hugely humbling process, first of all, because the level of trust that you need to have is potent. Because what we are trusting in is ourselves. And most people can say that they have self-confidence or, whatever it is. But if you are in a full surrender mode, right? Meaning full trust of the universe. Meaning there may be no avenues of financial streams coming in, as an example, all right? Or there may be fewer and fewer, all right? Because ultimately, what is it that spiritual teachers are teaching? That everything is energy. And if everything is energy, why do we need any of this physicality? Of course, the answer to that is we are living in a polarity experience, our earth experience. And that what we need is actually only food, shelter, water, comfort, community, warmth. The other stuff we do not need. We have it, and that's a beautiful aspect of creationism energy. We have the trains, we have the aeroplanes, we have the engineers that have created beautiful opportunities for the evolution of our societies, etc., etc., etc. But all the other shit we do not need. Industry is just producing more and more and more and more and more and shoving it in our faces. Okay, that would be our traditional marketing. All right, shoving it in our faces. Now it's an interesting space because we are moving through a grand evolution of the planet, um, of our consciousness. Okay, it's huge. We're moving through a huge shift, and of course, what happens through that shift is people move into the heart space for maybe a certain period of time, and they learn from their patterns, and they learn from their shadows, and they learn from their experiences, and then they begin to project these experiences onto you by superimposed courses and information, etc., etc. Again, there are no rights or wrongs. I'm merely sharing this because it becomes a tricky space within the quantum field. And this coursework that I was doing with the dragon energy was very much about this quantum reality and these quantum data sets. Okay, what is it all? It's energetic data sets. And that is what is coming up to clear is energetic data sets from that which we call the past, all right, coming up to be cleared. Have we learned the lessons? Can we control alt delete this data set and move into the data set of fucking unconditional love? Yanahara isitileaki, where your heart is just pulsating compassion, empathy, just fully charged in this beautiful energy of I value myself. I am here. I've chosen this experience. I remain embodied and I bear witness to it all. This is a force field and a charge of energy that very few people can embody for all periods of time, because this is what mastery is, right? This is what mastery is. So, you know, marketing has always been something that I have loved. I love marketing. I love the creative aspect of marketing. But often it became it moves through phases, much like everything in life. It moves through phases. It can become frustrating where I don't feel like I have digital sovereignty, where I'm abiding to the step-by-step beats of the algorithms put out there. And I've done videos on this. And then there are times when I'm like, oh my God, I love this creative process. I love how it's actually made me grown in my creativity. And now I'm in this new space of really sharing deeper, longer messages with you guys. And again, if nobody watches, it's okay. Because what it is a presence within myself of pure, authentic expression of what is happening to me. And again, if you are drawn to that energetic data set, then amazing. Let us be in this data set together and experience it together. And hopefully, what is my intention is, to be honest, just to be authentic, for people to see what it feels like to receive from an authentic data set, an energy field that is not afraid to blunder online or live, to need to present anything to you, um, and just to do my best, like, without having judgments on myself, without feeling shame, without feeling guilt, because this is what is happening. This is what we are being asked to master. Because, for example's sake, when we go to the example of me moving through the collapsing and further dissolving of belief systems from this friendship that I had, right? And a teacher element in my life that I had. When you move through the collapsing of those belief systems and you've held them for so long, and they have been the pillars of your structure, meaning for me, my business, right? My teachings, when those have been the pillars, and all of a sudden they dissolve, and you're like, I see, said the blind man. One can move into guilt and shame and feelings of feeling bad because you've put this information out there. But no, 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 no. We don't have time for that. And of course, you can do it. You can spend as much time in guilt and shame as you want, but it is not useful. And so, again, the longer that you have been on this transformational slash spiritual slash, path of growth, path of inner healing, path of unblocking your subconscious locks and blocks, the longer you are on that path, the quicker you become in transmuting energy and moving past lower frequency energies with such ease. So, but again, I have been in this field, I have been doing this work in this earth experience of linear time for a decade and longer. I say a decade because my business started then, but the journey started way before then, right? When I was maybe 10, 11, 12, it had started, if I think back to that. So, but many people will become, what is the word? Yeah, I really feel like they might feel a bit of shame and guilt for having belief systems that they now look at and um, see dissolving in front of their eyes. And I guess why I'm sharing this is it's going to happen. More and more things are going to come up for review within that which we call the Akashic field. I mean, I'm also looking at this word of Akashic records, how it is being taught, what construct is being created around that word, the wording of the Akashic. I am understanding it for myself from a quantum perspective, but how we can fall into these traps of that which we construct, because everything we think and everything that is being taught and everything that is being embodied and taken upon by those students is creating the construct. So when we think of it in this level and this depth, it's fucking intense. And to be honest, there are periods when this sort of, higher mental body aspects come online, when you become the witness, witnessing from these higher dimensional aspects, the monadic body, this higher mental body, the witness. And you're kind of sometimes frozen into inaction because there's such a level of awareness of the omnipresence of everything and your God source energy within that omnipresent everything. And the fact that you understand that you are God, creator, source, energy, amazing, powerful, empowered being, minus body, only spirit. And it kind of puts you in freeze mode a little bit. And I felt that, and many of you will probably move through that, where you're afraid to speak because you don't want to superimpose anything, and you're afraid to project because you've just learned about projection and you've witnessed in your relationship massive patterns of projection back and forth, and your parents, and so when these higher mental aspects begin to come in, we can become a little bit frozen. And what I'm saying is that's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Anything that presents, take your time, be with it, just be authentic. And again, the secret to this is to be in the heart. And I laugh because I have learned so much lately. And let me rephrase that. I have remembered so much lately through the process of erasing and forgetting that which was taught to me. I'm going to repeat that. I have remembered so much lately through forgetting, consciously forgetting and erasing that which was taught to me, because most of what we have been taught is fucking false. It's not real. It's a lie. It's a superimposition. Our history books are full of it. Our geography books are full of it. Ancient history is not as it seems. And this is all coming to light now, So through this process of remembering and possibly moving through fear that you don't want to project with this new information, you don't want it superimposed. My biggest teaching to you or experience that I've had is to be in the heart. And the reason I said why I laugh is because the beginning of this video started with when I started my business, knowing that it was a touchy space, particularly within a country where a lot of this wasn't happening, South Africa. My only objective was to make sure that everything that I did was from the heart. That I knew that the opposing energy to that heart space was fear. And we can go through all of the spiritual lessons and metaphysics and quantum physics, and we can listen to all the Sadhgurus we want. The messages are always so simple. And this is again why sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do another video on social media. It's all there. It's all there for everybody. It's all there for you. And it's all about love, being in the heart space. I had a beautiful experience with a friend this weekend where I have been very much assisting with his awakening journey. And he went through a really, really big activation. And I'm very purposefully using that word activation because that is what it was. When the heart fucking pops, like out of the center of your chest or just above here, this higher heart, you cannot deny that something is happening. And it was so beautiful because this man who was a believer in the supernatural, esoteric, gnosticism, all of these things that many people are, but to actually feel it within the body complex and know that something just happened. And I'll share a little bit of an interview about this as well, because I could ask for a testimonial, but we just did an interview. It's an hour long and I'll post it soon, And that's what I said to him. I said, this is the breakthrough experience that I've been waiting for you to have is, can you feel the heart? Can you feel it? Because only when you've had that are you like, oh shit, I don't know if I've been functioning from the heart. I don't know if I've been functioning from the heart at all. And then we begin to evaluate our lives, our decisions, our daily routine, what it is we do, what do we say, where are we avoiding being in the heart, and for what reason and what purpose, and to please whom, when, how, what. And I can pretty much guarantee you that 90% of your experience is not a heart-based experience. You may be going to restaurants and dinners and to parties or experiences with people that you don't really want to go to. You'd much rather read a book, or you'd much rather go for a hike, or you'd much rather eat that versus that, you know? So, yeah, I mean, nice topics that we've moved through today. Again, considering that I literally just pressed go live and didn't know what was going to come out. So, Um, yeah, feel free to ask any questions surrounding where you're at, what you're experiencing. I'm happy to discuss it. And yeah, I hope these lives really just allow you to give you the courage to express freely and to continue to do the work, because it's such a beautiful place to be when you can say, fuck it. And you can just come on and be yourself, and whether that's in a work environment or with a new lover or a friend. That's how we should be, how we are with our friends when we are doing online stuff, because we're adding to the algorithm. So what is it that we're adding in this day and age of AI just getting stronger and stronger and stronger? Maybe too late, but the point is, keep adding to that algorithm nothing but fucking pure love, nothing but authentic nature, you know, and pure emotion. And I'm not saying that all of your experiences need to be pure love and light. It's about authentic expression, um, and just releasing the fear, just being who it is you are. So I look forward to some future lives, because there are some topics that have been cruising around my field that are touchy, particularly to those of you that have been supporting me and watching me for many years and have done my work. So, I mean, to speak to that actually really hugely. The next free workshop that I have coming up, which is the 30th of what month are we in? The 30th of November, is called Demystifying Protection. And this is one of the topics where I don't really wish to go live on this yet. Um, but I would definitely say come and join. Come and join if this is a topic that interests you, because I'm really, really excited to move through this. I think it's going to be awesome. Anyway, guys, lots of love, big, heartfelt, beautiful Monday energy to you. And yeah, have a glorious, glorious, glorious day. Ciao.